Joseph Joubert stated, "It is better to debate a question without settling it than to settle a question without debating." The students over the last 2 months have worked vigorously with their coaches on 2 topics that have expanded their critical thinking skills and public speaking abilities. You will hear the middle school students tonight debate on a topic that takes a scientific view of when life begins. Should an embryo be considered a human life? And the high school students will debate on gender rights. Should you be required to use the bathroom according to the gender of your birth or the gender you currently identify with? Debating is about language and logic skills, how to present a structured and convincing argument constructively. The participating students have learned to argue opposing viewpoints effectively that has pushed them to utilizing their questioning, reasoning, critical thinking, and logic skills. Each debate coach has challenged the students to intellectually engage with relevant material that promotes problem solving and innovative thinking, as well as assisted them in building links between words and ideas that makes concepts more meaningful. Just before we get started, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you who so generously helped us make this event come together smooth. The participating students, our debate coaches, Brandy Williams-Miller, Sandra Patterson, James Jackson III, and Stephon Lane. Also, Leslie Cooper and Taylor Johnson, who helped make the debate come together. Crystal Pruitt and Anita Moultrie for believing in our vision. Dallas Technical College for allowing us to utilize their space the last 2 months and also being one of our sponsors. And in addition to our generous sponsors, we couldn't have done it without you. Through the support of our sponsors, we are able to provide over $4,600 tonight in scholarships. Again, thank you. I would also like to mention that the views presented are not necessarily the views of the students and coaches represented. The primary goal is to show students how to present arguments in a constructive manner and empower them through public expression to become better thinkers, speakers, writers, listeners, and leaders. So we will now receive our greetings by Dr. Tondra Williams, President of St. Petersburg College, followed by our Academy Program Director, Anita Moultrie, discussing our Academy program. Then we will have the introduction of our decision makers, the judges, by Leslie Cooper, co-chair of the debate, and afterwards the introduction of our moderator for tonight, Dr. Edward. Enjoy.
Good evening. Good evening. Hey, I think y'all need some coffee. It is certainly a pleasure for me to welcome you tonight to not only St. Petersburg College's Palladium, in which we're very proud to sponsor, utilizing the facility tonight. So we're glad to be a part of that. And we want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to welcome you to the Palladium Theater and the second Youth Development Foundation of Pinellas County's, AKA Academy, Great Debate Program for middle and high school scholars. The Palladium Theater was established in 1988 and in 2007 became a part of the St. Petersburg College family. It has become a vital part of the art culture in the Tampa Bay area, and we are glad you are here. As college president, the ability to debate is very important. It is a component of education that strengthens critical thinking skills, research, opinion, or argument skills, and the ability to present supporting evidence. The bottom line is that debating helps with decision making and is pertinent to learning and growth. Ben Stromkiter, a Harvard student, said it's imperative that high school students of diverse personal, moral, and intellectual commitments become prepared to confront multiple perspectives on unclear and controversial issues. And that is what our young people need today, not to lead things because people tell them but to do the research and check their guts to see, does this gel well with me and who I am? And as adults at St. Petersburg College, believe it or not, we still have students who are trying to figure it out. And so I am just so proud of what the ladies of Zeta Epsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated has done and provided the leadership and commitment to improving the lives of our students. The investment that they have made by standing in the gap for others has been one of the foundational pillars that hold the community and families together. So I want to say keep up the good work and get ready to see some debating that you can take notes from. Thank you and have a great evening.
Good evening. And again, thank you for joining us here tonight for our second annual Academy Great Today debate. I am Anita Poultry, Program Director, and we continue to be thankful for the opportunity to provide youth development activities for our community youth. We are 24 years and counting. Special thanks to our primary funders, the Pinellas County Juvenile Welfare Board, and the Youth Development Foundation of Pinellas County. Through their funding, we are able to offer creative and relevant activities which engage, educate, and encourage our youth. The focus of the Academy has always been scholarship, education, career development, and school success. And we have several activities planned throughout the years. This year we added civic engagement and leadership and had the opportunity to take 19 middle school students to a tour of Washington, D.C., Howard University, and the African American Museum of History and Culture. Congratulations to those young scholars and the chaperones that brought them back safely. Tonight's topics are relevant. I'll also add that that trip was funded by the City of St. Petersburg's Youth Development Grant. Tonight's topics are relevant, controversial, and may actually make us pause and not want to voice our opinion, but not our scholars. They have met, they have discussed, and they have researched their positions and developed their arguments. Our scholars understand the importance of critical thinking and listening to opposing views. Special thank you to Dr. Delphina Davis and her committee, who have spent the last 6 to 8 weeks focused on the execution and presentation of the great debate tonight. Lastly, we are very much thankful for your attendance. You continue to make us great. Thank you for your unwavering support of the AK Academy.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Cooper. I am the debate co-chair for tonight's AK Academy event. I'm so honored to be here. It is my honor to introduce tonight's judges. And when I do introduce your name, please stand and be acknowledged by the audience. First, we would like to introduce Chief Anthony Holloway, St. Petersburg Police Department. Michelle Ligon, attorney. Bo Norwood, Pinellas Technical College. Carrie Pilon, attorney. And Brandon Williams. Thank you, nice judges.
Good evening. My name is Darvette Barwick, and I will be honored to introduce our moderator this evening. Trevor Pettiford is an Emmy award-winning broadcast journalist with 30 years experience in television news. Originally hailing from Dayton, Ohio, where he started his career at WHIO TV. Trevor graduated from Bowling Green State University with a degree in radio TV film. Trevor joined Spectrum Bay News 9 in 2011. This is Trevor's second time living in Florida. In the late 90s, he worked as a bureau chief for WFTV TV in Orlando. He then moved to Atlanta to work for WAGA TV, and then to Birmingham, Alabama, as an anchor for TMTV. Trevor's mother, Joan Tomlinson Pettiford, and his sister, Tiffany Pettiford McMillan, are both members of Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
All right now.
Joan was initiated in the grad chapter in Dayton, Ohio, while Tiffany was initiated and is an alumna of Spelman College. Trevor is a fitness enthusiast and served as a trainer for FitWit boot camps in Atlanta. In his free time, he has volunteered to mentor high school students at the Boys and Girls Club and with Men in the Making. Trevor is married to Clay Ellabrook, who is the principal flautist in the Florida Orchestra. Please welcome Mr. Trevor Pettiford.
Thank you so much. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that I was birthed from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. Need to make sure that is made. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And you know, I'm going to ask you to try that again. So we're going to do this in a very fulsome, because we're talking about being able to project yourselves and be heard. Because we want these young people to know that we like to be heard as well. So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. Now, are we excited? Now, are we ready for this evening? Yes. The students have been working tirelessly over the last month preparing for the Youth Development Foundation of Pinellas County Incorporated, aka Academy, Great Debate for middle and high school students. And let me tell you something. This is something that's very near and dear to me, because as a journalist, you're taught to look at things objectively. And one of the key factors of being a journalist is that you're able to see all sides to any story. And one of the most important things about learning how to debate is to understand how you believe in something. And the best way you can stand on what you believe in is to understand the opposite side, so that you can argue your side. I remember from my church, Church of Christ, that we also study the Quran, and we study the Torah, because it's best to understand every religion to really strengthen your personal belief. So this is something very near to me, and I'm so proud to see so many young people take advantage of this opportunity to stand up and be heard. So give them a round of applause. Now, the Youth Development Foundation of Pinellas County Incorporated is a 501c3 nonprofit organization established by the local chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated to provide programming activities that will enhance the quality of life for targeted youth and families in Pinellas County. The AKA Academy programming focuses on education and scholarships, health and the arts, the family unit, and fosters economic and community development. This event tonight is one of many signature programs held, so sit back and listen while the students display the art of debating from their viewpoint. Now, the first topic will be debated by the middle school scholars. Their topic puts us right in the middle of the controversial questions of when human life begins. The students will debate on the importance of distinguishing between the science of developmental biology and the science of human embryology. So, the question is, quote, should an embryo be considered a human life? First up will be Michael Thomas. Michael, before you begin, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nation. This evening, we are debating whether an embryo should be considered a human life. Well, yes, it should. Former U.S. Representative Ty businessman Bill Ramsey, it's important to us to see the growth and development. At the end of the day, it's ours. It's our embryo and we feel very connected. At the moment of fertilization, your baby genetics makeup is complete, including the gender. Also, your developing baby is called an embryo. From the conception to the 8th week of pregnancy. The fetal heart starts on week 5, but can't hear until week 6. The heart rate of the fetal heart is between 125 per minute or week 6. Those facts came from embryology.com. U.S. Senator Bob Casey Jr. says, from the beginning, each human embryo has its own unique identity. Embryo right to life should be acknowledged and respected. Every person is an embryo in God's eyes. Remember that. Its only desire is to be born. As a result of heartbeat ban bill in Florida, it's a third-degree felony for a doctor who performs an abortion on a woman after a fetal heartbeat is detected. In Ohio, doctors who do not test for a fetal heartbeat must be subjected to a criminal penalty such as 6 months in jail. Thank you.
All right.
3 minutes for a negative cross-examination. We have Malcolm Woods.
Good evening, everyone. My opponent made a couple of declarative statements tonight. However, we're going to take an evidence-based, common-sense approach to answer the question, should an embryo be considered a human body? But in order to do that, we must examine the essential words of the question itself, which is embryo in human bodies. According to European Molecular Biology Organization, an embryo is an early stage of development, but the embryo doesn't have any control of what they do. An embryo is considered a gestation, but many women doesn't realize they're pregnant until after 5 to 6 weeks. And that's still when the embryo is still a tiny cell that still has a 2/3%, which is 6 to 7% out of 100 to be miscarried during that period of time that an embryo is still processing. An embryo is not merely human until function goes directly to the brain. An embryo is 65% of the organs that's not fully developed that can shut down and die. Additionally, an embryo is not in activity, but in the current state that they're very little active, which means that the embryo is in a very small active state for a small amount of time, but not in an active state for a long period of time, according to the Journal of Medical Internet Research. An embryo is nowhere near to a human body because it takes 6 to 8 weeks to develop. According to medical stem cell research, an embryo is a human because an embryo can divide into 2 or more parts during 14 days of a cell of an embryo weaning process. The embryo could divide into cells that divide to shut down and be fatal or die. In conclusion, an embryo is not a human, but a tiny cell adapting to become a human. And with all the evidence that was stated, an embryo is nothing but merely a cell. Thank you.
The opening statement and negative constructive for 3 minutes. We have Mackenzie Davis-Talbot.
Good evening. Should an embryo be considered a human life? To answer this question with a clear methodological background, we must first truly define the meaning of an embryo as well as human life. An embryo is the earliest stage of development of a multicellular diploid eukaryotic organism. Human life is a large mass of properties or qualities that distinguishes the true basis of living organism. So why should we consider an embryo human life when we all know that life begins from the day that the baby emerges from their mother's womb, not when the first sign of development begins? Because if that were true, then how come it's not specifically stated on our birth certificates or any other federal documents that we humans possess? Quoted from prochoice.org, it says that an embryo is really just just a miniature mass of tissue and blood and is not advanced enough to be considered a human life. How can we clearly state that an embryo is human life when quoted directly from the Endowment for Human Development Research Foundation that an embryo does not physically attain a heartbeat because 1, it is too faint to be heard, and 2nd, it can only be discovered utilizing rare and limited radioactive ultrasound technology. It takes multiple weeks to even really detect a stable heartbeat. Reference from BioEthics Observatory, it says that an embryo is an unorganized, chaotic, untreated cluster of cells with no logical placement. Oxford Academic defines an embryo as an unfinished grouping of tissue and does not have any contribution of genetic information. How could one possibly consider that an embryo is human life when reference from Mayfield Clinic Brain and Spine Organization that an embryo does not possess a brain that supplies the body with the way to store critical information, control the movement of the body with the whole memory, send signals to the body to perform the necessary functions that are absolutely needed to be able to survive and to fully carry out the procedures of the central nervous system. The Westchester Institute wrote an article, and within that article, it establishes that an embryo cannot perform the molecular conditions required for continued complete embryonic development. So with all this evidence, statistics, and research just stated, it is clear that an embryo is merely a collection of small insufficient cells that don't hold any substantial genetic or valuable human material and should not be considered a human life.
For the affirmative cross-examination, 3 minutes go to the board.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Contrary to what my opponents are saying, an embryo should be considered human life. An embryo is an unborn offspring. An offspring is the unborn of a living organism. Embryos already have mandatory organs such as lungs, heart, and a brain. They also have spine, ears, eyes, and digestive system. At stage 18 of embryo life, embryos have a length of 13 to 17 millimeters and an estimated post-fertilization age of approximately 44 days. Human beings remain vertebrates even in embryonic stage. The embryo feels just as much pain as the mother does in the womb. By 28 days, 3 primary parts are already developed for the embryo. A new human life comes into being not when there is more cellular life in a human embryo, but when the newly developed body organs and systems begin to function as a whole. By the 7th week, the embryo has all the organs of an adult, even though it's only an inch long. It's only between the 22nd and the 25th days post-fertilization that the heart beats for the first time. Footprints and paw prints are permanently on the embryo skin by the 2nd month. The immune system of the embryo starts working by the 5th month. The embryo receives 7 antibodies from the mother's blood for fighting diseases during the last 2 months of pregnancy. By the 21st day, the embryo pumps its own blood through its body with its own blood type. By 42 days, the brain waves are recorded from the embryo, and the skeleton is completed, and the embryo's reflexes are present. Thank you.
With the affirmative constructed, we have 3 minutes given to Deanna Chambers.
Good evening. Good evening. Our argument is, should an embryo be considered human life? We are the affirmative team. According to religious belief, Christians believe that human beings is there from the very beginning to the very end. The Supreme Court ruled that the fetus only inherent constitutionally protected right is the right to be born. Human equality means all humans are equal. If human worth is intrinsic, the embryos intrinsically have a right to life. NCBI, National Center for Biotechnology Information, believes human embryos are human beings who deserve the same basic respect. The human embryo is the same individual as a human organism at subsequent stages of development. There are more than 600,000 frozen embryos solid in clinics and labs across the United States, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. Meaning that if a married couple wants to have a child, but not right now, then they could get their embryos and freeze them until they are ready to have that child. There are more than 1,000 fertility patients with frozen embryos, and 20% of patients who want to keep their embryos frozen. Embryos are simply developing humans. Stopping a foreign life is murder. Embryos are humans, and therefore they deserve human rights. The most important human right is the right to life. The embryo may be undeveloped, but it's alive. A human embryo is a human being, all started as a complete genome. According to John Paul II, he believed human embryos obtained in vitro are human beings and subjects with rights. Their dignity and right to life must be respected from the first moment of their experience. Life begins at conception. It's a scientific fact. According to Catholic answers, there are 3 facts about the unborn. 1, they are alive. 2, they are human. 3, they are whole organisms. 2 decisions of the German Constitutional Court on abortion stipulate a constitutional right to life for every individual embryo. To be a human means to act the physical aspect and essence of humanness. Human embryos, human cells, are alive and under some circumstances, they can assemble into primitive tissues and structure. That's how they become a baby or is now newly developed. The behavior of the embryo is to turn into an organism. In order for it to turn into an organism, it has to develop.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. With the negative cross-examination, we give 3 minutes to Renaya Brinson.
Everyone, you've heard my opponents state several opinions on this topic. Although, like my teammate stated earlier, an embryo is nothing more than an unborn offspring that hasn't yet even developed. According to medical stem cell research, many individuals argue over this topic, but an embryo desperately relies on the mother to dispense all nutrients and more. Therefore, an embryo has no capability of expressing its own potential. Also stated, if an embryo should be considered human life, why aren't the mothers who abort them imprisoned or confronted with consequences? Aren't criminals incarcerated? Isn't murder considered to be a crime? Yet the law allows abortion, proving the fact the undeveloped organism can't be considered human. Since the mother dispenses everything needed for an embryo, it cannot survive without the mother. If a teenager needed their mother to malfeed them and still provide nutrients for them today, the teen would still provide the mother to do so, and without this, the teen would die. Normal everyday humans feed themselves, unlike an embryo. The NBCI stated an embryo is only in transitional stages, periods of differentiation, and multiplication at the cellular level. After reaching its development, it can only then be taken as human life. An embryo cannot receive and store information, reproduce itself, or most importantly, it cannot function independently. Like my teammate Mackenzie stated earlier, the heartbeat of an embryo is very much faint and technically doesn't exist due to its faint and insufficiency. Yet, when fully functioning humans press a hand on their chest, you can hear a thump of a heartbeat. A normal human possesses a loud heartbeat and regularly working one at that. Human life is in fact about enjoying the many freedoms of being a human. Yet there is no evidence of an embryo running for office or creating a cure to a disease. So far, we know an embryo has an unstable heartbeat, undeveloped limbs, and dependence on a mother. This doesn't sound like a normal human life, now does it?
With 3 minutes for the negative construction, we give you Zoe Johnson.
Good evening. We have heard our opponents share their thoughts on how they believe an embryo should be considered a human life. As individuals, many factors, intellectual, emotional, or spiritual, may sway us to adopt one view or another considered a human life. Personhood begins after an embryo becomes viable to survive outside the the womb or after birth, not at conception. Boethius, a philosopher and theologian, defined a person as an individual substance of a rational nature. We ask ourselves, what is rational nature? Rational nature is defined as human responses based on clear and precise logical analysis of any situation. When commenting upon this definition, philosopher St. Thomas Aquinas indicated that this definition applies to human beings because they are separate from one another. Thus, they are individuals, and because they are rational, that is, they have control over their own actions and are not only acted upon as are all other human beings, but act of their own initiative. What actions can an embryo make that resemble human-like actions? Theologian Stanley Harwass states that an embryo is not visible to be considered anything at all. According to physicist Ernst Schrödinger, he defines life in terms of free will and consciousness. The relative degrees of free will and consciousness in the mother outweighs the free will and consciousness of the embryo. A mother has full moral status while the embryo doesn't yet. In appending to my teammate Renaya, the U.S. Supreme Court, Kate Roe v. Wade, 1973, declared abortion to be a fundamental right guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. This landmark case granted women the right to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. By the mid-1990s, 85% of American counties had no facility offering this service to women. In the wake of continued social controversy as well as violence and harassment directed at facilities, offering terminations is declining. Remember that no matter how many medical reports you produce about the viability of the embryo at any point, this issue will still come to a belief system of proof. We weigh one person's rights against another all the time in daily life and law. Whose rights are worth more, a potential person or an existing person? 47th U.S. Vice President Joe Biden stated that he does not believe that we have a right to tell other people that women can't control their body. Finally, we ask ourselves, whose body, yours or mine? Who are we to make a decision determining what an individual should do with their body?
Final affirmative cross-examination, Aaron Shepard.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. In many countries, including the United States of America, scientists have been excited and intrigued with creating medical treatments by using embryonic stem cells. But the problem is, these scientists don't know that they're actually creating a human being. And is it right to deliberately destroy human embryos for therapeutic purposes? Sure, it's imperative that scientists should try to find cures for cancer, diabetes, but it's just not right. After all, a human embryo is not just a tiny part of an organism, nor is it a clump of cells. But are these cells alive, you may ask? Yes, they are. The egg cells inside a female's body are alive. Sperm cells inside a male's body are alive too. Most of the cells in the blood that drips from your finger when you cut yourself are alive. According to medical stem cells research, embryos are in fact a human being at its very first stage of development in life. Every person in this world begins as an embryo. Morally and the sanctity of all human life must be regarded as higher in value than biomedical research. The value of an unborn child has been known for over 40 years. Moreover, intensely silent about the possibility of new or fresh knowledge can create better health motives that make it difficult to think clearly about our obligations to others who are utterly small and defenseless little human beings who don't seem to be like us. A quote from Samuel Butler, an author, says, "Is life worth living? This is a question for an embryo, not for man." Destroying an embryo for such research is an activity that involves deliberate attempts to destroy an innocent human life and cannot be justified. As stated by Medium.com, this can be compared to a person killing a comatose person. And this is because an embryo and comatose people lack self-awareness and cannot feel anything, and are unable to process their own feelings. Human embryos are indeed human beings, and as such deserve a desirable and decent level of respect that is incompatible with treating them as disposable research material. But people who care about justice and human rights should stand fast all human instant life. These embryos are wonderful creations made from God and should be able to live their own life like we people do today. Thank you.
Now we will allow 2 minutes for a team conference. While they're discussing this, let's see, without showing which side you support or which side you believe in, how many of you feel like you've seen a perspective of the opposing side that you've never seen before? Show of hands. Wow, that says a lot. Now you know the next time you ask one of them to do something, they're going to have a debate. I know what we're preparing, we're bringing it in here. But it's why because you say so. Young ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Clear? We don't need the next 15 seconds. Right, to continue now with the negative rebuttal. 3 minutes, we have Colin Brown.
Good evening. Good evening. Our opponents this evening have made many statements, but I am going to focus primarily on the human life aspect of the topic. But, like my teammate Malcolm stated earlier, I am going to take a common sense approach initially. An embryo cannot be considered to be human because it cannot live freely. It is confined to the mother. It cannot make its own decision or do anything for itself. If it is removed from the mother, it will die. Also, human life is to be existing, and to exist you have to be conscious, and an embryo is not conscious. According to one of the leading experts in cognitive philosophy, Stanislas Dehaene of the University of France, consciousness emerges from, quote, the global neuronal workspace in the brain. In this process, different parts of the brain engage and communicate with each other at a high level. So, an embryo cannot be conscious because it does not have a brain. Thank
you. With the affirmative rebuttal, 3 minutes are given to Kiana Chambers.
Development of the human embryo begins at stage 1. Human development begins after the union of male and female gametes or germ cells during the process known as fertilization or conception. Every human being shall have the right to life and human dignity. The unborn shall be considered born for all rights accorded within the limits established by law. According to the Center for Reproductive Rights, a developing baby is alive and developing into a potential human being. Because under ordinary circumstances, a new genetically distinct human being is thereby formed. Keith Moore said, human life begins at conception. The majority of humans, 56%, also believe that abortion should not be legal, and another 76% support unborn victims. There are 17 cities or states that filed a fetal heartbeat bill. A fetal heartbeat bill is a form of proposed abortion legislation in the United States of America, which makes abortions illegal as soon as the fetus heartbeat can be detected, based on the conclusion that a human heartbeat is enough to indicate a person. Development is a continuous process. There is no special moment when human life suddenly becomes worthy of respect and human rights. That work is intrinsic. Embryos therefore should not be used as means to an end, even good ends such as cures for disease or to save another human life. The right to life belongs to every member of the community, regardless of size or degree of development. Potential human potential rights. An embryo is a potential human being with the same rights as all human beings. An embryo is also an aggregation of cells that exist in the early stages of development. Everybody in this world begins as an embryo. If embryos were considered not to life, you, or any of us would not be in this world living today. A person is recognized by law as such not because they are human, but because rights and duties are ascribed to them. The person is the legal substance of which the rights and duties are attributes. Human duties are to reproduce and make embryos so that the embryos will have a good, successful life. According to the Constitution, they said no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Thank you.
With the negative rebuttal and closing statement, 3 minutes are given to Mackenzie Davis.
Good evening. Based on the statistical data previously stated by my teammates, it is completely understandable to agree with this statement that embryos should not be considered a human life. Quoted from Charlotte Institute, it states that an embryo is a rapid, distorted, and is merely put together and infused within seconds, which causes the embryo to not be able to attain the unique molecular composition that is not only necessary, but greatly fundamental to be able to barely function as a human. So how can anybody claim that an embryo should be considered a human life when it can't even perform the basic task of breathing that an actual human being can do? To even believe that an embryo's human life is illogical and unscientific, because an embryo is a mere grouping of cells and does not have an inherent capability of becoming a human being. As a cause of this, it's not even rational to state that an embryo is somewhat morally equivalent to any basis of human life, or even a form of human entity. To back this up, any living organism contains a specific number of 46 chromosomes. However, an embryo only contains 23 chromosomes, making it not capable to biologically perform all the tasks of a human life. Stated by Helena Science University, an embryo is a biological reaction. It does not have a head, heart, spine, or conscience. Evidently to conclude, an embryo is no more alive than my legs, my arms, or even my fingernails. In closing, my opponents brought up the topic of Christianity to try to advocate for their point. Restating my teammate Zoe on the topic of what human life is, according to the great Christian theologians, both these and St. Thomas Aquinas, is human beings are individuals because they have control over their own actions and are not only acted upon as all other beings, but act of their own initiative. What actions can an embryo make that even somehow resemble the actions that a human physically can make? In other words, what am I alluding to is Americans acting upon our freedoms rationally as citizens of the United States, specifically in the case of abortions. They occur for rational reasons. For example, rape. In 2012, Indiana Republican U.S. Senate candidate Richard Murdoch said that when a woman is impregnated during a rape, that it is what God intended. Let's ask ourselves a question. Does that quote sound rational as referred to by the great Christian theologians, or does that sound irrational? The state of our current politics in our country fed upon the ignorance of millions of Americans. It has greatly influenced the political climate of our country when it comes to abortions. However, no matter the attempts made by today's politicians who seek to mislead millions of Americans on the topic of abortions, it does not undermine the true initial point made by historical theologians concerning individuals and rationality. Therefore, my team believes that an embryo should not be considered a human life.
And finally, with the affirmative rebuttal, 3 minutes and closing statements, 3 minutes are given to Andy Lynch.
The big question that everyone is asking tonight is, should an embryo be considered human life? It is clear that an embryo should be considered a human life. As stated, the embryo contains unique information that defines a person. Let us start with the beginning of human life. Human life starts when a female's egg and a male sperm meet together to make an embryo. An embryo is an unborn or unhatched offspring in the process of development, and particularly a human being, during the period from approximately the 2nd to the 8th week after fertilization. In order to consider the question, should an embryo be considered human life, we should depend upon the biology of a person as it has been utilized through the ages. I have gotten a quote from Robert George saying that an embryo is not something distinct from a human being. It is a human being at its earliest stage of development. The quote that I have gotten from Robert George is saying that an embryo is still a human being. It should have the right to live life. You should take into consideration that an embryo has a heart, lung, brain, and a body. just like humans. It's just in miniature form. If you look on the website, www.bbc.com, it states that an embryo is never anything other than a human from conception and therefore has the right to live life from the time it has been constructed and through its whole life. Declaring that even if we're an embryo, we still have human rights. Did you know that unwanted embryos are being used for scientific purposes, or that more than thousands of embryos are being aborted every day? In the Bible, Paul's chapter 139, verse 13 states that, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb." Paul was stating that God made you for a reason. I may not know the reason, but you will one day. Embryos will too if we stop aborting and testing them. Embryos should be considered human life because all living things should have the opportunity to experience life because it's best to live up life as much as we can. As my teammate stated, the 5 basic human rights to human life is freedom from torture, freedom from slavery, the right to fair trial, freedom of speech, and last but not least, the most important right, the right to life. Thank you.
Let's give all our debaters a round of applause. Now, as they leave the stage and our high schoolers will enter the stage, we do have a song that will be sung by Tia Love Urban. As we make that exchange, and will you welcome her to the stage?
Good evening to the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority and the gentlemen of Omega Psi Phi. We would like to present this song to the Academy and any student who is out here who is dreaming and want to be a debater. So, I would like to present this song to you. I'm freezing right now. Is anyone else cold? We believe the children are future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. And give them the sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we grew.
So it made my papers fall down. Thank you so much, Tia. Now, as we prepare, I'm used to holding that, not having it. As we prepare to hear the topic debated by our high school scholars, I would ask you to clear your minds of your personal beliefs, maybe, and listen to both sides of this argument. This particular topic is one of current controversy of gender identification. There is a generational divide in how we think about gender. In order to bridge this gap, these students will argue opposing viewpoints effectively that has pushed them to utilizing their reasoning, critical thinking, and logical skills. So the question is, should a person be required to use a public restroom according to the gender of their birth or the gender they currently identify with? You first begin with Kennedy Gray, who will get 6 minutes in the opening statement of affirmative construction.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask you to play along with me for just a moment. My name is Kennedy Gray, and just like our former president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, I too am a middle-aged white man of privilege. I enjoy all the privileges afforded to middle-aged white men, including higher wages, faster promotions within the corporate environment, and by default, home ownership and good credit. Now you may ask yourself, why would a 15-year-old black girl want you to believe that she is a middle-aged white man? Ridiculous, right? Of course it is. Almost as ridiculous as the argument that my opposing team will make regarding tonight's question. Should a person be required to use a public restroom according to the gender of their birth or the gender that they currently identify with? My opponents may tell you that as of March 2017, 19 states and the District of Columbia and more than 200 municipalities have anti-discrimination laws and ordinances allowing transgender people to use public facilities that correspond to their gender identity. However, allowing a person to expect special accommodations because they choose to disillusion themselves as something for which they were not born is as ludicrous as my claim to be a middle-aged white man of privilege. Transgender individuals should be required to use the restroom that corresponds to their sex at birth. This is accountability, not discrimination. My opponents also may tell you that transgender people can't be required to prove their gender to gain access to public restrooms unless everyone has to show ID to use that restroom. But my fellow debate team and I believe that the main problem with allowing transgender people to choose which restroom to use is the openness and acceptance of the leniency involved with sexual persuasion issues and the harm it can bring towards normal children and adults. We have a men's, women's, and family restroom, and we intend not to add a unisex restroom. In the democratic society, laws should not be changed to accommodate the minority, since those who identify themselves as transgender make up less than 1% of the population. In addition, children are too young to know if they are transgender, and supporting a child who identifies as transgender is child abuse. Allowing transgender people the right to use public restrooms according to the gender for which they identify as poses as a safety concern. Interesting fact. In mid-October 2017, in North Carolina, a transgender woman raped a young girl in a public restroom because bills were passed allowing transgender people the right to use the restroom which corresponds to the gender that they choose to identify with. The person found guilty of this crime, Miguel Martinez, refers to himself as Michelle Martinez in local news reports. Mr. Martinez entered the women's public restroom posing as a transgender woman. The predator raped a 10-year-old young girl, elementary school girl. Now he faces 1 count of first-degree sexual abuse of a minor and 1 count of second-degree sexual abuse of a minor. Martinez took face up to 70 years in prison. Another case in point hits a little closer to home. In 2016, in Lakeland, Florida, while attending a minor league baseball game, a 12-year-old little boy was viciously attacked in a public restroom by a transgender woman posing as a male. Standing at 6 foot 2 inches tall and weighing approximately 283 pounds, the assailant was no match for the weaker victim. Robert Edwards, who was born as Robin Edwards, was found guilty of first-degree sexual abuse of a minor. After the thorough investigation, Edwards admitted to trolling public restrooms of sporting events to hunt new victims. Allowing transgenders the ability to choose which restroom they attend is not a matter of civil rights, but one of public safety. Subjecting the public to their alternative lifestyle infringes on the civil liberties of those who choose to build, but one's public life should never interfere with the safety of others. Therefore, transgender people should use the restroom that corresponds to their gender at birth. Thank you.
Now with 3 minutes for negative cross-examination, we have Zanaya Biddings.
My opponent has made many claims for why they feel transgenders should use the restroom of their gender at birth. However, I beg to differ. Imagine you are a transgender man or woman, and all you want to do is use the restroom of the gender you currently identify as. Except you cannot go in the restroom because when you do, you get dirty looks or harassed. On the other hand, when you go to the restroom of your gender at birth, you are treated the same. There has been many instances of these type of situations happening to transgenders. In 2013, Williams Institute recorded that roughly 70% of trans people have reported being denied entrance, assaulted, or harassed while trying to use the restroom. In August of 2018, it was reported by NBC News that a 12-year-old transgender child was harassed by children along with adults on Facebook for using the restroom of the gender she identified as. Again, she is only 12 years old and is receiving threats such as, "This is terrible. Y'all have great kids and a little half-baked maggot is causing them problems. And if he wants to be a female, make him a female. A good sharp knife will do the job really quick." Now, why would you want your child being treated this way at only the tender age of 12? She isn't even a teenager yet, and she is receiving treatment that people quadruple her age wouldn't even be able to fathom. So why is it okay for her to be treated this way just because she doesn't identify with her gender at birth? For, at the end of the day, she deserves the same treatment as any other person because she is a child as well as a human. According to a survey by Huffington Post, out of 28,000 transgender people, 59% stated that they have avoided using a public restroom at least once in the previous year. The reason for this is that they are afraid of being attacked just for using the restroom. Now, why should anyone be so afraid of being assaulted that they avoid using the restroom altogether? Is it because of others' fear of change? Or because of the way some people portray transgenders as a whole? Many are afraid, including my opponent, that a transgender person will come into the restroom and assault their children. Yet, the National Center for Transgender Equality has not heard of a single instance of a transgender person harassing or a non-gender person in a public restroom. So, therefore, their interpretation of transgender people being these bad people is false. Also, another reason many are afraid to integrate the restrooms is that they believe sexual predators will come into the restroom posing as transgender. When Huffington Post reported that they found only one instance, of a transgender perpetrator in an alleged sex crime in a restroom. To conclude, for these reasons and many more, my team and I uphold the con side of this debate.
With 6 minutes for the opening statement and negative constructive, we have Lauren Lavin.
So tonight, we are pondering whether a person should be able to use restroom based off the gender of their birth or the gender of their choice. Well, my name is Lauren, formerly known as Larry, and I have to pee. Pardon me. I mean, I have to use the restroom. Now, as a man who identifies as a woman, our opponents would have me go to the men's restroom. But look at me. Can you imagine what happens when someone as beautiful and well-dressed as me walks into the men's room? Do you know how hard it is to be a bit different from everyone else? Our opponents are not worried about my comfort. They are only worried about their own comfort. I went through all the changes, got all the paperwork, and best of all, I was even accepted by my family. But my biggest downfall is when going to the restroom, I am unaware of which restroom I should go to. Some people say I should go to the men's restroom because I was born a man. Others believe I should go to the restroom based off of whichever I identify as. And personally, I am one of those people that believe this. I would love to just get in, avoid getting in trouble, and just simply use the restroom. Yet, it would be beneath me to use the restroom right here in the public. I kid you guys not. Me doing this water challenge and killing eight bottles of water a day, it's starting to get to me. I just want to be able to use the restroom like transgender Michael Harper, who began the hashtag "We Just Need to Pee" movement. This is a movement in which transgender people focus on going to the restroom just to use it. Just to use it. That's all I have to do. I won't talk to anyone or do anything, I promise. I'm going to get in, use it, and then come out. I'm begging my opponents to let me use the women's restroom. I can't imagine my daily selfies in the men's restroom. I know when people think about a man in the women's restroom, it makes them nervous. But me, I consider myself a woman. And every time I go into the men's, they are harsher than women are, believe it or not. I get called names that hurt more and more every single time I hear them. Have you ever been called a punk and a sissy all in one sentence? What about have wet toilet paper thrown at you? Or even have them take photos of you while you're just trying to use the restroom. However, with me going to the women's restroom, it will stop this. Stop all the harm that I am having. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal. Yet, me, a living person under this declaration, and guess what? I'm not being treated as equal as the others are. I'm already African American, living in a society that doesn't accept people like me. Forcing me to deal with this, along with all the other stress, is just adding more struggle to me living my life. What about the other men who now identify as women and have been easily accepted by the community? People such as Netflix's Orange is the New Black star, Laverne Cox, YouTube star and author Jazz Jen, as well as Fox's own Amaya Scott. All of these people have started on television or other forms of social media. I bet none of them are still questioning which restroom they should go to. What is it going to take for me to use a women's restroom? Money? My happiness? I put too much money and time into the person you see today, and I even put myself in a hole. I would rather not end up even more broke just to go to the women's restroom. According to verywellhealth.com, the cost of transitioning can often exceed $100,000 in the United States, depending upon the procedures needed. Which backs up the fact that I am now in a hole and struggling to even provide a life for myself. It's like when I'm actually starting to get happy, my opponents come and just try to stop me down. It's also been hard for me to go outside my own house, the place where I live, without being harassed. And believe it or not, I'm not the only one with these struggles. According to the article, Understanding the Transgender Community on humanrightscampaign.org, it's been at least 13 transgender women that were murdered in 2014, and 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 saw even higher numbers. These women were stabbed, shot, strangled, burned, killed violently by inmate partners or even strangers. Personally, for people in my society, my fellow people, such as you, and even you back there in the back, to let me go to the women's restroom. I would like to thank all the advocates for standing up and being heroes and paving the way for people just like us, who have been dehumanized for years since 1829. 1829, when the first known transgender came out as a man who was actually born a woman.
Thank you, Ms. Lavin. Now, with the affirmative cross-examination, we give 3 minutes to Genesis Richards.
There are two major facts that our debate team strongly believe and that a person should be required to use a public restroom according to the gender of their birth or the gender they currently identify with. Gender-neutral bathrooms don't work. Having a bathroom where both men and women use the same bathroom creates a rise in fear, safety, and privacy issues. According to OSHA, or the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, public or private facilities are legally forced to have a bathroom that can accommodate both males and females. OSHA was created to ensure safe and helpful working conditions for working men and women by setting and enforcing standards and by providing training, outreach, education, and assistance. In 1972, President Nixon signed into law a number of amendments to the Higher Education Act of 1965, which was a federal law enacted to provide funding to colleges and universities to provide assistance to students. During the era of President Obama's presidency, the U.S. Department of Education issued laws stating transgender people will be protected under Title IX. Title IX states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from, participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Meanwhile, in 2017, President Trump revoked all laws, guidelines, and funding which led to transgender people having to use the bathroom of their assigned at-birth gender bathroom. If transgender people are allowed to use the bathroom of their choice, child molesters, rapists, or any man or woman who has means to harm another person in a verbal or physical way may disguise themselves as transgender females or males in order to gain access to potential victims in the privacy of the bathroom. School children may do a similar thing, but only think of it as a harmless prank, designed to help a laugh or embarrass another student. This gives potential victims an easy access for predators. As my opponents have stated, a transgender person is more likely to be harassed verbally or physically in a public restroom. In our society, change is scary and a fearful thing. Seeing someone who is different from their usual lifestyle of friends gives people a sense of fear and vulnerability while in the bathroom. Transgender people are a minority here in America, making up 1% of the population from the Huffington Post. Although, as my opponents have also stated from the Huffington Post, that there haven't been any reports of transgender people attacking or harassing a cisgender or straight person in the restroom. Why do you think that? People are scared of reporting someone who's different from them.
Thank you, Ms. Richardson. With the affirmative constructive, 2, we give 5 minutes to Ziamora Richardson.
Good evening. Let's say there was a law that allowed transgenders to use public restrooms according to the gender they currently identify with. It can allow sexual predators to gain access to their opposite sex and children. But truth is, everyone has a fear. Most likely their fear is spiders, it could be clowns, it could be something as small as an ant. So fear is great in the American existence. But what exactly is fear? Well, fear is a powerful and primitive human emotion. It alerts us to the presence of danger, and it is critical in keeping our ancestors alive. Fear can be divided into 2 responses, biochemical and emotional.
age, we all know what emotions are. So let me explain to you what biochemical means. Biochemical means relating to the chemical processes and substances which occurs within living organisms. This gets to the heart of the issue. Bathrooms are places where assuredly private things happen, and that makes people feel vulnerable in all sorts of ways. As quoted by Caitlin Anthony, author of Designing for Diversity, Gender, Race, and Ethnicity in the Architectural Profession. Undisguised cisgender men are by far the primary perpetrators of bathroom sex crimes in the U.S. Opportunistic men will take advantage of any expansion of transgender and sneaking into women's bathrooms or restrooms to commit sex crimes. Now, everybody loves to go get groceries, and you like to go get your groceries at the right place. Whether if it's Walmart, Sam's Club, Target, just to name a few. But what if I tell you that outraged shoppers have threatened to boycott Target after a man exposes himself to a young girl in the store's bathroom? In a widely shared Facebook post, the evangelist Franklin Graham, the Christian evangelist, CEO of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association and of Samaritan's Purse, an international Christian relief organization. Graham blames the incident on Target's bathroom policy, which allows transgender customers to use the bathroom or fitting room that matches their current gender identity. As quoted by Franklin Graham himself, why is anyone shocked? Target prides itself in its policy that allows biological men to use women's restrooms. On Sunday, in one of their Chicago area stores, a man entered the ladies' restroom and exposed himself to a little girl who was at the store shopping with her mom. Customers interviewed were right. Not only is it sad, but it can also be prevented. You can tell that the outraged shoppers also wanted to put their input with their comments. Adriana Mammon says, make separate gender-neutral bathrooms. Open bathrooms make me feel at risk of rape. Sad since I love Target. The reason behind this quote is there is a boycott for a reason. And also to show that others are not only upset, but extremely bothered. This isn't any other regular adult man or woman. This is a child. At the end of the day, it is someone's daughter. She didn't ask for this to happen to her. Someone also under the name of Kung Fu Monkey also states on Twitter, to protect my children, I too #Target boycott. Make third bathrooms or make private bathrooms instead, but don't allow predators easy access. If transgenders are allowed access, then everyone is allowed access in where they please. Thank you.
With the negative cross-examination, we give 3 minutes to Zahara King.
My opponent brought up some good points, but I would disagree. In restrooms, the female ones I know for sure, there are stalls. So hypothetically speaking, if a transgender man went into the men's restroom, we wouldn't know he was really a woman unless he exposed himself to the people in the restroom. We are so worried about transgenders going into the restroom of their choice because of fear and safety hazards. But what about the safety of transgenders? According to HRC.org's website, 29.9% of transgender females attempted suicide because of the harassment and not being accepted in their communities. They just want to use the restroom. And of course, there's always the fear of sexual predators using this to their advantage. But after much research, there's only one reported case where this happened. According to the Bridgehead website, a woman named Katie Dolotowski, who was born a male, sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl in the women's restroom at a grocery store in the UK. And that one situation doesn't speak for everyone who wants to choose the restroom of the gender they identify with. And compared to that one case, Think about the hundreds of sexual crime cases that didn't involve transgenders. But why is there such an uproar about this one? They are people just like we are. Just like I have to use the restroom several times a day, they do too. And they don't want to be jailed and fined for doing just that. My teammate talked about 70% of transgender people were denied entrance. And did you know that 68% of people were ridiculed, made fun of, even stared at and recorded? And this is all happening while they're trying to use the restroom. 9% were even physically assaulted. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that's too much just to be going to the restroom. Former President Obama saw this issue, and in 2016 declared that all public schools open their restrooms, locker rooms, and more to students based on their gender identity rather than on what they were born as. As you can see, change is constantly happening, and hopefully now you understand my team's point of view.
With the negative constructive, we give 5 minutes to Taylor Cooper.
Good evening. Matthew 22:6 says, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." And this is what the Bible says about equality. My teammates and I believe that everyone should be granted the same opportunity, regardless of what gender they identify as. According to Pew Research, 60% of Christians in the United States feel that whether someone is identified as a man or a woman is determined by sex at birth. But who are we to tell someone how to label themselves? Better yet, who are we to tell someone where they're allowed to simply use the bathroom? The idea is inhumane and overall uncomfortable for not only the person identifying as transgender, but for everyone else in the bathroom. Title II of the Civil Rights Act protects access to all public accommodations, including hotels, restaurants, and places of entertainment on the basis of race, color, religion, or national origin. There is no federal law that protects people's rights to access public spaces on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. This leaves transgenders susceptible to discrimination. This also puts transgenders in a vulnerable position to be attacked both physically and verbally. According to the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, there's a documented 26 deaths of transgender in the United States due to fatal violence in 2018 alone. On January 10, 2019, the Human Rights Campaign mourned the death of Dana Martin, the first known transgender person killed in the new year. 31-year-old Martin was found in a roadside ditch in her vehicle with fatal gunshot wounds. This epidemic of violence towards transgenders must cease. These innocent people are being brutally attacked or killed because of hate. Being able to use the bathroom of their choice could keep them safe and out of the spotlight. My opponents feel as if others may be prone to sexual assault and attacks if transgenders were able to use the bathroom of their choice. It would be selfish to take away this uncomfortable choice because of fear. According to the University of California, Los Angeles, there is no evidence that letting transgender people use public facilities that align with their gender identity increases their risk of attacks. There is no hidden gender when these innocent people use the bathroom. Just like Lauren said, they just want to go in, take care of their business, and leave. Religion is used as a cudgel to blunt LGBT betterment. Bible verses are deployed not to enlighten or to uplift, but to frighten and degrade. Romans 2:11 says, God shows no partiality, even meaning that no wrong action is greater than the next. Lauren, a dear friend of mine, a hardworking woman in our community, just wants to be comfortable and feel accepted. Besides, we do not have the power to declare being transgender a sin, but we do have the power to treat others how we, ourselves, would like to be treated. Our opponents brought up the flaw in gender-neutral bathrooms. However, that is not what this debate is about. Our goal for tonight is to let transgender women use the women's restroom and transgender men use the men's restroom. Perhaps our opponents have forgotten about a time not so long ago where people were told which restroom they were able to use based on our color or which seat they could sit in based on color. I challenge our opponents
points to ponder this question. How much longer are we going to be okay with others making our choices for us?
With 3 minutes in the affirmative cross-examination, Aisha Shivers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Some people have other opinions that gender-neutral restrooms take away safe spaces for women. These restrooms aren't the best choice for us. Now, my opposing team will find every way to prove that gender-neutral restrooms and unisex restrooms are the best fit for us, but I'll tell you why they aren't. Unisex restrooms are a contentious issue, which is reflected by the intense media scrutiny to which they've been subjected over the past few years. One of the main concerns of the people who oppose unisex restrooms is that they could lead to rising sexual assaults. For example, according to Business Insider, Target is facing calls for a boycott after a man exposed himself to a little girl in the women's restroom of one of his stores. Now, why would we want unisex restrooms? Many people feel as if unisex restrooms are safer than normal restrooms because of transgenders or to stop bullying. But is this really safe? Let me give you a scenario. You give a guy and a girl an area hidden enough to be private, but still designate public. You give them a disgusting, yet thrilling area to have sex in. Do we want that? The purpose for gender-neutral bathrooms is to cut back on bullying and to create a much safer environment for all individuals. But is this really safe? In Washwater Essentials, it states that much of the controversy surrounding gender-neutral restrooms seems to center on children. A state primary school in London fitted unisex restrooms, which lead to parents being angry and made them start an online petition against the toilets, which attracted over 1,000 signatures. Starting this year, schools all over the world are starting to use gender-neutral restrooms. According to Renal Gazette Journal, this upcoming August of 2019, 2 middle schools, Sky Ranch, and a yet-to-be-named campus, along with an elementary school in the South Meadows, are set to open. With their new design, all students will share the same restroom space. The district believes the new restroom design will cut back on bullying, but how? Many people can get bullied if they are seen walking out of the restroom at the same time as the opposite gender. Is this really what we want? Many parents who reached out to Renal Gazette Journal are concerned that the communal nature of the new design and the increased privacy the stalls afford could lead to issues. Parents are also worried that the district's effort to curb bullying might lead to more opportunity for it. Now, which restroom do you really think is safe for us? Do you think gender-neutral restrooms and unisex restrooms are safe, or the restrooms that we currently have now?
Thank you, Ms. Shivers. We'll give both teams 2 minutes to conference. Okay, let us continue. And I'll apologize ahead of time for any pronunciations of names. As they tell us in our business, you pick a name to say it and you say it with authority. So with the negative rebuttal, we give 3 minutes to Jolyn White.
Of all aspects of the topic discussed, including religion, safety, and general public opinions, it seems to be a pattern, doesn't it? Discretion. As my team has brought forth actual facts and statistics that pertain to transgender restroom equality, like how Huffington Post reported they only found one instance of a transgender individual committing a sexual crime in the restroom, where being trans helped the offender. Opponents, on the other hand, continue to introduce talking points to the subject of bias on a number of fronts. including them attempting to ridicule one's transition into their lifestyle of choice due to them being the minority. Isn't this room filled with minorities? And even when they led with facts, they weren't followed as a source. But back to the topic of minorities. Our opponents are bringing up singular incidents that only occur with a small group of transgenders, making them the minority of the minority. Shall all trans people be persecuted for the actions of few? We talk about love, we talk about equity, and yet, when faced with putting these concepts into practice, we fail when it takes us out of our comfort zone. We lose the ability to allow others to simply be. We deny others the right to exist on their own terms. It was less than 60 years ago when people with my skin, my hair, and my DNA were denied the ability to have a seat at the lunch counter, denied the right to walk the same halls, denied the right to drink from a water fountain. So I ask, this descendant of slaves that were once viewed as cattle by people that justified their wicked and inhuman treatment by quoting the Bible and preaching their gospel, have the right to now deny another human being a right that was once denied to me. It's not my job to decide how another man views himself. It's not my job to judge. It's not for me to decide. It is my job, however, to be humane, respect the rights of others, and to love unconditionally, regardless of how they identify. Times have changed. The world has changed. And for this black man, one that was once viewed as a monkey, cattle, and less than human, I thank God that it's changed. Because if it had not, I wouldn't be standing on the stage. Because this black man would not have the right to do so. Thank you.
With the affirmative rebuttal and 3 minutes, I give you Cornecia Martin. Cornecia Martin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My opponents tonight have argued some logical points. They have explained that transgender men should go to the women's bathroom and transgender women should go to the men's restroom. However, my thoughtful opponents didn't consider the cultural expectations and cost factors. Characterizing transgender identity is different from cultural expectations based on the gender they were born with. My opponents also didn't consider the safety hazards. As my partner said, some safety hazards are predators. According to the new study from the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law, if transgenders were required to use public restrooms according to the gender they are currently identified by, women and children, even men, would be vulnerable to attack in public restrooms. This study also explains that transgender people are frequently denied access, verbally harassed, or physically assaulted while trying to use public restrooms. The public accommodations my opponents are arguing would need to include necessary protections for transgender people and maintain safety and privacy for everyone. If people were required to use public restrooms based on their current identity, women, children, and men in public restrooms would need privacy and safety. People's privacy and safety would be endangered in locker rooms, dressing rooms, and other intimate places, opening them to whomever wants to be there at any given time, and also to several sexual predators who claim confusion about their gender. Public restrooms provide everyone the right to use them for the same reasons, which is to do their business and leave. This creates confusion for the masses, which leads to transphobic behavior for those who feel threatened or vulnerable while using the bathroom. Now, to address my final point, the cost factor. Building new bathrooms creates a vast increase in cost for architects, builders, and other workers. OSHA states, as long as the facility has a bathroom provided, then anyone, regardless of their gender identity, should use it. Let's take, for example, a woman or man decides to dress up as their opposite gender and go into the bathroom of their opposite gender in a public facility or private business. This creates a way for the man to prey, molest, or rape a woman, while this creates a way for women.
closing statement, 3 minutes, given to Rochelle Still.
Good evening. A change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Said the late Sam Cooke in the early 60s. Originally, this was the anthem that propelled civil rights activists forwards to end the oppression of colored people. This song, even today, inspires people, especially transgender, bisexual, or any other people who identify with something outside of societal norms, to fight for their rights, in this case to use the restroom they identify with, and to prove that they are valuable members in society, since our opponents and other like-minded people clearly do not. Through extensive research, my team has found that it is the pure ignorance of closed-minded people whose primary concern is what has been done for them instead of what has yet to be done for others that hold this innocent community back. Our opponents have put up a great debate, a debate about unisex and gender-neutral restrooms. They have made great points about gender-neutral restrooms, but none about letting transgender people use the restroom they identify with or that they were born with. Maybe because there is no valid explanation to not let them use the restroom they currently identify with. My team is fully aware that passing legislation of this caliber will be immensely difficult, but so is legalizing gay marriage, and abolishing slavery, and getting women's suffrage, but giving us the right to vote. History has proven that difficult does not mean impossible. According to authors Brian Barnett, Ariana Nesbitt, and Renee Sorrentino of the Journal of the American Academy of Psychiatry and the Law, 18 out of 50 states have passed legislation in favor of transgender people's rights. And while that is progress in less than half the country, more needs to be made. What about the other transgender people in the other 32 states? These U.S. citizens, and make no mistake, they are U.S. citizens, have the right to use the restroom, and they deserve the right to use the restroom where they are comfortable and are not being harassed. The number of transgender people will not subside, seeing that the American Journal of Public Health reported that 0.6%, or approximately 560 per 100,000 adults, claim to be transgender. This may not seem like a considerable amount of people, but that does not make them insignificant. For too long, these people have suffered at the expense of our being uncomfortable and our unwillingness to change. Today, we have the opportunity, obligation, and responsibility to help those who just need to use the restroom. Our opponents may like to differ, but to all of my fellow transgender, bisexual, and LGBTQ+ community, I know it's been a long road, but a change is long.
Guess I wasn't going to cut out that song, wasn't I? Thank you, Ms. Stone. Now with the affirmative rebuttal and closing statement, 3 minutes to Genesis Richardson.
From the time we are in our mother's womb, our gender is predetermined by 23 pairs of chromosomes. No matter how many hormones are taken to alter that, your genetic makeup cannot be changed. No matter how much makeup you put on, add hair extensions, or shave your hair, put on high heels or sneakers, your 46 chromosomes will not change. Even reassignment surgery cannot change that. All those things are external changes that can be made, but what cannot change is your genetic makeup. Which is why we are in favor of using the restroom of your birth. Your gender can't be changed. If I were to cut off my nose and put on a bead, would I then have to be in a nest because I will identify as a bird? Identifying as a bird is a deception that can never be a reality. If I put on a cape and climb to the 4th story of the building because I think I'm a Superman, I still can't fly, no matter how much I identify with him. In our society of change, both good and bad, when God created the world and all that is in it, Genesis chapter 1, that was it. There were no modifications to creation listed from Genesis to Revelation. We are who we are based on the Creator's specifications, not societal accommodations or makeup or who we identify as. The Creator did not make a mistake in the way every one of us was made. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and your 46 chromosomes cannot be changed. We strongly believe that everyone should use the restroom according to their birth. As my opponents have said, how much longer are we going to tolerate people choosing which bathroom to use? We only want to feel safe in the bathroom, and until society feels safe in using public restrooms, we won't change. Buildings have been built specifically for 2 bathrooms, a men and a women's bathroom. The amount of money needed to achieve this goal of adding bathrooms to accommodate transgender people will put this country into more debt than it already is. Allowing transgender people the right to use the bathroom of their gender they currently identify with will not only cause people to try and change their dating lifestyle and make them feel vulnerable and unsafe, as well as a rise in transphobic behavior from the masses of people. Fear runs through the minds of those who use the bathroom with transgender people. People are scared to change, and we shouldn't be forced to change or accommodate to make others feel better. People want to feel safe while trying to use the bathroom. Thank you.
Again, let's give all our debaters a round of applause. And singing too. So, before we announce the first debate, we're going to bring out our middle schoolers as well to come up and stand as well. To see all of our Did you feel like you learned something tonight? Yes. Again, all of our debaters here tonight. We first now like to call Chief Anthony Holloway, and Ms. Turner. Mr. Turner, come up with Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Please come up here before we start to announce our words. Did an excellent job. Despite what your viewpoint was, you argued it very well. Very well done. Shall we announce the women's middle school? We have another announcement. Hold on just a moment.
Okay, this is not on the program, but Chief Holloway, we raised $4,650 in sponsorship. He wanted the number even, so he just gave us $1,400 to have. Participants, so that is awesome.
Thank you very much, Chief Holloway. All that in a new building tomorrow. New building on Friday, too. New police headquarters. All right, it is my pleasure to announce to you the winner for the middle school team that won the debate this evening under Coach James Jackson III.
Mr. Colin Brown. Thank you. Ms. Mackenzie Davis-Cowell. Ms. Zoe Johnson. And Mr. Malcolm Woods. We want to also congratulate Coach Williams Miller's team also for your vibrant participation tonight. Awesome job. You all handled a very difficult topic and you made it look very easy, so congratulations to both teams. Ms. Kiana Chambers. As Ms. Kiana Chambers gets her award, thank you, Coach Jackson's team. You all make way for Coach Williams' team. Mr. Judah Moore.
That's my dog.
Ms. Nandi Lynch. Ms. Erin Shepherd. And Mr. Michael Thomas.
Now for the final tally. I'm being told to stretch, so we'll just talk more about all sorts of things going on today.
Wow.
We'd like to, before we announce those though, we'd like to acknowledge those who assisted us by providing research today. First, Brianna Chambers. Brianna. And Ariel Shepherd. Both in these, I don't know if you can get up here. You're getting gift cards and gift certificates. Thank you so much. She said, wait, she's got to get a check. Group to announce to you the winner of the high school debate under Coach Stefan Lang.
And the winning team, Ms. Anaya Mittens.
All right, Lizzo.
Congratulations, Ms. Taylor Cooper. Ms. Zaria King. Ms. Lauren Lattimore. Ms. Lakewood, yes. Mr. Lakewood, Mr. Jalen White. And the closer, Ms. Michelle Still. presentation from Coach Patterson's team. Now it's your time. Thank you. Ms. Kennedy Gray. Ms. Kernesia Martin. Ms. Genesis Richardson. Ms. Samara Richardson. And Ms. Taisha Sugars. Please join your team. Thank you.
We hear from our children because they say a child shall lead us. Thank you all so much for joining us and have a good evening. We will see you again. Oh, I'm sorry, there are closing remarks.
Yeah, we have some thank yous that we would like to do. And good evening, my name is Lisa Brody, and I'm honored to serve as the president of the Zaytoon Mega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the Youth Development Foundation of Pinellas.
Vice President of the Eagle Chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity.
And on behalf of our members, we would like to thank you all for attending the second annual AK Academy Great Debate.
Recognizing the need to foster development of critical thinking skills for our students, we believe tonight's great debate is a wonderful opportunity to teach our students the skills of debate. The students tonight have done an amazing job, and we're very proud of you. Let's give them another round of applause.
Is the brainchild of Dr. Delphina Davis, and I want to thank her again for organizing and implementing our great debate along with her committee. I would also like to thank our volunteer staff members from Alpha Kappa Alpha and Omega Psi Phi fraternity, who without their dedication and many hours towards working with our students on a weekly basis, teaching them the many steps involved in preparing for tonight's debate, this would not be possible. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our special guests and elected officials who are in attendance this evening. I've seen Pinellas County Commissioner Ken Welch, if you could please stand and be recognized. Honorable Circuit Judge Patrice Moore. And our School Board Chair, Renee Flowers. I would also like to give a special thank you to our sponsors this evening and the Pinellas County Juvenile Welfare Board for their support as well. And I would be remiss if I again did not thank Chief Holloway and the City of St. Petersburg Police Department for their donation to the foundation. I would like to give a very special extra thank you to our judges for taking the time to join us this evening. City of St. Petersburg Police Chief Holloway, Attorney Michelle Wiggin, Doug Norwood, Director of Pinellas Technical College, Attorney Carrie Pavon, Salon Intel, and Attorney Brandon Williams, law firm. Thank you. And then also, I've just been informed that we would like the judges as well, if you could join us. Dr. Davis, would you like to join us? If the judges, if you can come forward and join us up. Okay, you can give feedback from there. You have microphones, I just control. Because we will have an opportunity, we really welcome some feedback from you as well.
Members of Zeta Upsilon Omega Chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, and the men of Omega Psi Phi Enrolled Chapter, please stand to be recognized. Thank you as always for your continuous work and doing your best to make this community better.
There was a lot of research, and that goes to show that the brothers of Omega Psi Phi and the sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha really put some work into this. You know, you have to get that right. And you all of you are winners. You did a great job. You really put your heart into this. You were competitive. Competition is good. And Jalen, thank you for representing me. You did a great job. Thank you.
Oh, I'd just like to share the fact that I am so very proud of each and every one of you. I am renewed with hope for our future, just for having listened to you this evening. I can't tell you how much it means to see this side of our youth. Thank you, parents. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, TT, Ray, and everybody that was involved in this process. I am assured that many of you will follow the lead of a couple of us here on the judges panel into the law, the practice of law. It affords you a wonderful opportunity to choose your path with that as your foundation. I want to thank each and every one of you who have parents and friends and neighbors who have participated in the preparation for this. It's not an easy task. Particular thanks to the coaches who spent hours in preparation for this. Well done. Well done. And if you have a moment or two, I'd like for you to consider participating with this age group. Middle school is hard. High school is hard. But it becomes a little bit easier when you know that there are helping hands around you. When there's a hug, a kind word of encouragement, and when there's somebody who can actually say, "You've done good." Well, maybe not done good, but you did well. Thank you.
Good evening. I too have to echo what Ms. Ligon said as far as your incredible ability to take challenging and controversial topics and make them your own. As a lawyer and a litigator, I spend my day in the courtroom, and I tell you, I would challenge any of you to do exactly what I do, because I think you are almost as good as, or better than most lawyers I see on a daily basis. So the research, the time you put into it, very commendable. But in addition to that, I'm also a mother, and as Michelle said, I have to say, I'm just proud of each and every one of you from that standpoint. So congratulations to each of you. You are all winners, and I'm just so proud of you for coming out and doing it, and it was exceptional. So thank you for letting me be a judge.
I'll say before we wait for the closing argument. I just want to say thank you for inviting me here tonight and being a judge. And I always hear people concerned about our future. After tonight, I'll never be concerned about our future. That is, you are our future, so thank you very much for that. Whatever we can do for you from the police department, please let us know. And you already got me for another contribution for next year. So. The last thing I want to say, I do not want to see y'all in the courtroom because y'all will beat me up every day.
I just want to give a special shout out to my twin sister in the back, Brandy Williams. What's happening? I just want to say, I mean, it's so much. I'm so overjoyed to be a spectator to what I just saw. Again, if any of you are thinking about law, or I tell you, you all have the skills. You demonstrated that here today. You are like said before. You all are better than many of the attorneys that I've gone up against. And I'm not sure if you all know the scientific theory exceptionalism, but you all are exceptional. You all are beyond the norm. I give a fact. As an attorney, I don't think I've gone up against any African American attorney yet. As an attorney, I've seen more people on the other side when I go to the courtroom versus actually being in the box going up against another attorney. So you all are leaders. You all need to continue to set the example. We need more people implementing positive examples in our community, and you all have the ability to do that. You all understand that many people call few children. I heard a lot of people quoting scripture today, which was refreshing to me because a lot of people, I truly tell you, everything happens for a reason. You are on that stage for a reason. Take advantage of the opportunities that you've been given. Don't try to assimilate with all the rest of the crowd. You all stand out, stay out, and continue to pave the way so that other people can come follow you. And that takes a lot of strength and a lot of perseverance. And you all just continue to do what you're doing. Don't look back. And the future is super bright for all of you. So cheers to you all, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, judges, and let me echo that as well, that you control the narrative, all right? That you control the narrative, and you control the narrative tonight, and you can control the narrative in your life with whatever you want to do, whether it's a lawyer, law enforcement, journalism,